Hey everybody, it's me, Steve Schnee, the CD Junkie. On this episode of CD Junkie, I'm going to be talking about a brand new box set entitled Before the Future, 1984 to 1989 by Then Jericho. Now, some of you may be going, Schnee, who's Then Jericho? Then Jericho was a great British band that obviously was around at least 84 to 89. Actually, there were times when Mark Shaw, the leader, would reunite different versions of the band. But this was really their commercial high point, and this is the period that this cherry red box is focusing on. And then you might be thinking to yourself, like, well, what do they sound like? Well, Then Jericho, they're a bit of, there's post-punk in there. There's commercial pop in there. There's many layers to this band. The best way to describe them would be anthemic. So you're not getting, let's say a band like The Clash or Duran Duran, regardless of what they look like. What you're getting is this anthemic band that, although they don't sound like them, they're closer to bands like U2, Simple Minds, The Alarm. It's passionate, grandiose at times, and dramatic and fun and tough and very, very melodic. And everybody knows the things that draw me to a band are the melody and the passion behind creating the music. Then Jericho, they actually, as I said, they're a British band. They had to go to New York to play a showcase gig to get noticed by their British record label. So they actually eventually got signed to a major label in the UK, and they put out a few singles, and those, I believe, were produced by Martin Rushent, who had produced Buzzcocks, The Stranglers, Human League, Yachts, Hazel O'Connor, a bunch of great bands. But then they moved over, and they had the album produced by Owen Davis and the band, and that first album is called First, The Sound of Music, and that's the first CD you're going to get in this box set. Like I said, it's anthemic, it's tough, it's rock, it's pop. There's Mark Shaw on lead vocals. There, in fact, you get Mark Shaw on lead vocals and Steve Wren, the drummer. And then here on the back, you get Jasper Stainthorpe on bass and Scott Taylor on guitar. And sadly, we lost Scott Taylor recently, but we get to remember him and his musical legacy in this box set. But this is a wonderful album. I was wondering, well, how was this going to do in the US? Well, at first the album didn't get released here, but then they sort of mixed the album around. They took the song Let Her Fall, and they had Charlie Sexton, who were their label mates in the US on MCA, add his backing vocals to that. And then they put out the album with a completely different cover, although it is still called First, The Sound of Music. I just don't think that they knew how to market them here in the U.S. I don't know anyone who bought their albums except for me. I was buying the imports and then, of course, the domestic, and I was telling people about them. But The Sound of Music was a very, very impressive debut. Like I said, very anthemic. Then you're getting a few bonus tracks on that. Then you're getting a whole disc of bonus tracks from the same era. And this is, things like, B-sides, remixes, edits, club mixes, and you're getting some, non-LP tracks there as well. And that's a nice little second disc here. Their second album, they added the guitar player named Rob Downs, and so it was a 5-piece. The producer on this second album, called The Big Area, there was actually quite a few producers. There's like Rhett Davis and Gary Langan and Bruce Lamkoff, Rick Knowles, who had been producing Belinda Carlisle at the same time. And just like they had done with Charlie Sexton on the first album, they had Belinda Carlisle add her backing vocals to the song What Does It Take? And this was even, a bigger produced album. They'd taken that sort of dramatic anthemic sound, and it was a lot more commercial, a lot more polished, maybe a little bit heavier too. And it sounded like an album that was, I don't know if they were intentionally doing this, but geared maybe more towards the American market. Still very British, still very close to that first album. But in my opinion, when I heard this album, I just thought, yeah, this is going to be an album that gains them interest here in the U.S. Still that classic, Then Jericho sound, because they did have their own thing going. But this is their second album, and it contains bonus tracks on the disc there, as you could tell. But, Big Area was a huge single for them, at least over in the UK. What Does It Take? And Sugar Box was a single, and You Ought to Know. And then in this box set, you also get a second disc of stuff from this period as well, and some stuff from the earlier period. And that is the fourth CD that's in this Then Jericho box set. It's a very, very worthwhile band. Still don't know why it didn't quite make it in the US. These are songs that actually sometimes they took a while to build up until all of a sudden by the end of it, you're pumping your fist in the air and you're singing along with the chorus. That's really what they're all about. Unfortunately, the band split after this second album, so they never even made it to the 90s. But this is the classic period. This is what people remember them by. I'd love to hear new music from them, but until we do, Before the Future, 1984 to 1989, is definitely an album to check out, but this has bonus tracks, so I'm really glad to have this, because this actually has songs I did not have, not just talking about remixes and stuff, but there's some rarities on this box too, so you should definitely check that out if you are a fan or want to get into them. So what I've done is I've put together a short medley, and this features just a couple songs from each album just to give you an idea of what the band sounds like. So sit back, give this a listen, and I will see you on the other side. Well, that's it. I hope this video inspires you to check out Then Jericho, especially the box set Before the Future, 1984 to 1989. This is brand new on Cherry Red Records. Definitely check it out. Then Jericho, a great British rock band. Never really saw any traction here in the States, and they really did deserve it. Check that out. I appreciate you watching this video. Remember to like, comment, share, subscribe, to ring that bell for future notifications. And until the next time, remember me. I'm Steve Schnee, the CD Junkie.